Hey, while he's doing this, how many of you voted this morning? Voted on what? How many of you plan to vote after school? You liar. Are you registered?
No.
Are you 18?
Yeah.
Okay. How many of you plan to vote after school?
Only 16.
Folks, I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you, the only thing that separates our country, one of the only things that separates our country from chaos and the rest of the communists in the world and ISIS organizations in the world is our ability to vote. Be quiet.
Does that count as a speech, though?
No. Yes. Yes. Add it to the list. You need to take advantage of this opportunity, because if you don't, you may lose it. Don't take this for granted. Figure out who the candidates are, even in these local elections, especially for those who just turned 18. Because then when you're my age, 10 years from now, when you're my age, you can say, I voted in every election. Because if you don't vote, you can't complain. Don't ever complain about the way things are. Don't ever complain 10 years from now if you don't have a job, or if the interest rates are sky high so that you can't afford your own home, or your roads in the county are gravel and they should be paved. In my case, don't ever complain. You don't have that right. Actually, you do have that right, but it's just not right. Okay? All right, you guys ready? Yes. All right, Michael or whoever, Q, explain these IP addresses to us.
Okay, so
Circle as he's doing it.
all these IPs on the left side, the printer, the PC1, and the server, they're all on the same network. So they
PC, printer, and server all on the same network. Okay, what's the gateway point to?
the router.
Okay, the inside interface, private interface of the router. Circle it. Okay, and what type of IP addresses are on the left side of your network?
Private.
Private IP addresses. Tell me about the subnet mask.
They're 16 bits.
16-bit subnet mask, which means what? Austin, pay attention. 16-bit subnet mask means what? Give me a decimal format.
255.255.0.0.
255.255.0.0. Okay, what else? Oh. Keep going. Tell me about the second interface on the router.
Okay, the second interface on the router that's going out of it is
What type of address?
public.
Okay, 20.0.0.1. What about the first interface on the ISP's router? What kind of IP address is that?
Private.
Ooh. What's wrong with this picture?
Can't be private.
You hit your quota. Remember, Austin, quota is used up. All right, fund meter is full for you.
What's extra credit?
No.
Private IPs are not private.
Can 20.0.0.1 talk to 10.0.0.9? Yep. You cheated. You owe me 2 laps on the big dog after school.
I'd be glad.
20.0.0.9, that is correct, because it's on the same network as a public IP address. Gabe, who's going to give you that, or where are you going to get that 20.0.0.1 IP address assigned to the external port of your router? What's that? Nope, try it again. Who's going to give it to you? Just tell me who. ISP is going to give you that IP address. If it doesn't, then you're wrong. Don't randomly assign a public IP address to the external port of your router, otherwise it won't work. Because it has to connect to the ISP's router. What should be the gateway of the 20.0.0.1? Circle that, Michael. What should be the gateway of that interface? Quentin? Aaron Kleckner.
I think one of the
NIC1 of router 2. So 20.0.0.9. So Michael, circle the that IP address so the people that remote can see that one. So that router has a gateway of whatever the interface is on the other one, on the other router. Everybody understand this? And because you don't have any control over this, but because the ISP router is communicating with some other router, it has to have two separate network IP addresses. Any questions? One last group. Quota, remember? Quota?
No, I'll make my hand go.
Okay. Who's going to be the spokesperson for this group? Christopher. All right, Michael, erase what you can of those IP addresses. Come on, Christopher.
We don't have to do this.
The router is down. The internet is down.
Oh,
The internet is down. We got to repair it. Quiet. Okay. All right, give it over to Christopher. Christopher, I want you to put in your IP addressing scheme, and then I want you to grade it publicly. Me? Yes, cool. Okay, first of all, I want you to get up here. I want you to introduce yourself to the other class. Come on up here. Turn and face the camera, introduce yourself.
My name is Hank. I'm going to grade this. I go to Bremen.
That's good. All right. Go ahead, Christopher, put your IP addresses up there. And I can't read it.
He's left-handed.
Read it.
172.1.0.
172.1.0.1, okay? Okay, you're grading it. You do your thing.
Am I just supposed to grade it as he goes?
No, just ask questions that you don't understand.
Too?
Keep going. What?
You want subnet?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's less than
And gateways.
And then you want me to put the,
yes.
see if I can make this.
Quickly.
Is that your answers?
Yes.
Are you guys changing your drawing?
No.
Okay, put it just like it's depicted up there so we can publicly ridicule you.
Okay, that's it. All right.
Keep going.
That's what we
You're
got.
done? All right, talk to me. Mr. Grader, give him, give him the computer. Remember, the bottom button on the side is the eraser, and you may not need that a lot.
You want to
Okay.
Draw while you're talking. What works?
Well, it looks like right over here, they started it out okay.
Okay?
Um,
What's right about it? Sound off.
that's kind of a private IP.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Alright, well, it's got a private IP. It's got the subnet mask.
He's actually, it is not a private IP address. It has to be, if it's Class B, it has to be what?
Has to be
172 dot what? 16. Okay? Take a look at your range of private IP addresses. Okay, keep going.
Can we change that?
Nope. There's a glaring mistake. Point that out, please.
Keep going to say.
Yes. Are you circling the gateway addresses?
Yeah.
Actually, that's the only part that's right.
I was circling them to get them out of my head.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's good.
I would say the biggest glaring mistake is going to be in this vicinity right here.
Nope, that's right too. We're missing an IP address though, and that's on the right side of that router. The second interface on that router, put an X on that interface. Actually, it's where the line is. Yeah, there. So there's no IP address assigned to that interface on the right side of router 1. Okay? There's another glaring mistake. What is one of our rules about routing between networks? MacGyver. Pay attention to what's going on here.
One of the rules with routing between networks is that inside the router has to have has to share that IP address, the network IP of the network that's connected to it, and the outward one has to share the same network address as the other.
And what is the point between those networks? Yes?
Those addresses have to be unique.
The network addresses must be unique. So we have to have a different network address on the right side than we do on the left side of that router. And you have the same network address on both sides. And if you're calling 172.1 a private IP address, what else is wrong with this picture? Let you redeem yourselves. What else is wrong? You don't have to stand up and yell. Okay. There's something else. What is on the right side of that first router? What type of IP address does that need to be? Has to be public. Okay, is 172.1 public? Actually, that might be the only part of the entire drawing you got right. It is, but you didn't think it was, so you're wrong. No, it needs to be first a different network. So put a different network in there, please. Okay, I'll use the eraser. So we put a different. Give me a decent public IP address for that interface. 20.0.0.47.
That's what we were thinking the first.
Okay, all right, everybody understand this now? Any questions? If, go ahead, I'll take this. Yes, Austin?
Yeah, where you have circle where it's not the IP router, but the regular router, it says slash 16, isn't that, would that be 24?
172. This?
Yes.
No, it's /16 because that's what they chose to do. It's this interface. Holy cow, there are more drawings on here. It's this interface over here. It has to be /16 because these are all /16.
Oh,
And this interface needs to be the same network as all of these.
oh, that's just referring to the subnet mask.
That's correct. The /16 is the subnet match. Everybody understand this? Are there any questions? If you have any questions, would you zoom that out, please? If there are any questions, You need to ask them now, because 2 days from now, you're going to get the same test. And you're going to have to legitimately come up with IP addresses for these. Yes? A gateway for what interface? The server, which is down here.
Does that have to be private?
The gateway, it has to point to an IP address on its same network, or it won't be able to reach it. So in the case of this server, which is attached to the switch, it needs, this gateway needs to be this device, otherwise it's not going to route. All you're doing is pointing out where is the closest router. There's another thing you can think about. Anytime, got a PC, I've got a PC, I've got a switch, I've got a router. The gateway for this PC and this PC is going to be this IP address. Always. If there is another router over here, the gateway for this PC and this PC could be this interface or this interface. Could be either one of them. 9 times out of 10, take a break. Turn that off, please.
I know, I agree. You're right, you're right.